morning or good early afternoon to those of you on the East Coast. Yeah, excited to be here today. I think there's, as far as the agenda is concerned, I know there's a couple of questions that the Art of Homeownership team have asked me to address regarding transaction management, LOS integrations, things like that. And so I'm going to dive into those and kind of from there show some really cool updates and features that we're going to be releasing by end of year at Daily AI. I think that are going to be really exciting for everyone. And I think from there, just open Q&A for sure. So looking forward to, should I dive in, Val, or anything else before we get started?
Yeah, go for it. Yep, take it away.
Great. So kind of high level, just as it relates to LOS integrations, at Daily AI, we do integrate with Encompass, we integrate with Byte, we integrate with Lending QB, Lending Pad, some versions of Calyx, not all. And so we do have those integrations available. And I know that our Homeownership team has sent out some emails and whatnot to all of you about potentially syncing up your Daily AI account with your LOS. And we would definitely love to help you with all of that. There's just sort of one thing that I do want to bring up, and that is it's not always up to us whether we can integrate with your LOS. So especially if you work at a big company with a big compliance department, they're going to have a say whether or not Daily AI can integrate with their Encompass, let's say, right? Now that being said, we've done a lot of different integrations. We have robust compliance on our side, vendor management, all of that we can take care of, but it's not necessarily turnkey, right? We still need to get that approval. And so I just want to throw that out there. I know like some folks that are at Art of Homeownership that are at Churchill Mortgage, we started that integration process, but again, like we are going through that with their compliance department. It's not just like, hey, Daily AI, turn it on. If you're the owner and you have the authority to make that decision, then we can just turn it on. But it doesn't always work that way. So wanted to throw that out there. We'd love to have help all of you, but it definitely can be a little bit of a process just in terms of setting expectations around the LOS integration. And so kind of moving from there. I know there's some things we wanted to discuss around transaction management. And so let me kind of share my screen here, start to dive in. Everyone see my screen? Okay.
Yep, looks good.
Great. And so in terms of how transaction management work and how milestones work, this is one of the most powerful parts of Daily AI that can allow you to automate different workflows. We have the drip campaigns, which we can do a quick refresher on as well. But the milestones as well allow you to create various automations within Daily AI. And so the way that we are able to create milestones, and edit them and create those workflows essentially is by going into the settings page, which is the gear icon. And from there, you'll see that there's the milestones here up at the top. And just to kind of give a quick overview here, if I click into this, you'll see there's 3 different tabs here. There's prospect, there's in process, and there's dates. And so really what it is we've tried to separate it based off of, a prospect is maybe a lead. They're not in process, right? There's not a loan in your LOS system at that point in time. You're trying to get them there. And then in process is they actually, there is a loan in the LOS system and you're in the process of servicing them in that regard. And so really what the milestones allow us to do is to basically create different statuses for the contact and the transaction. And when a certain milestone is triggered, it can create, it can do certain things, right? So on the prospect side of thing, you'll see this is an account that's pretty well built out, which is why I wanted to show you this one. But if you look at this, it says, okay, we created a status here, which is contacting RE lead. So, like a lead from a realtor, or whatever it is. And so basically, if the contact is changed to this status, contacting real estate lead, basically we get to say, what do we want to have happen and who do we want to have a go-to, at least on the prospect side of things. And so for this, you're going to see that, great, okay, if a contact is moved to this status, essentially a text message is going to go out to the referral partner if the referral partner exists. And I'll go ahead and find the edit button here at the bottom. But it's just going to say something like, hi, referral partner first name, I left a voicemail for such and such lead. I'll continue to follow up with them and let you know once I get in touch with them. Thank you. It's also then going to put the borrower on a drip campaign, right? So again, in terms of the different actions we have, you have the ability to send an email, to send a text, to send a video text or like an animated GIF, to put them on a robust campaign with multiple steps, or to just create a task for you or someone on your team, right? And so in this particular instance, if we update the contact to contacting RE lead, the text is going to go out to the referral partner, and the borrower is going to be put on a drip campaign, right? If we come down here, you can see a lot of different milestones are built out here, right? And the reason why this is powerful is because if I go into an actual contact, like let's say a lead came through today and I basically try to call them, I don't get a hold of them. All I need to do is, update to contacting real estate lead, or maybe it wasn't from a realtor, it's from a web lead. But then just by simply updating the status, I'm not going to do this because it's going to blow up this poor guy, James, and I don't know if I want to do that to him. But by simply updating the status, it's going to then update the referral partner, if you choose to, via text, email, video, text, whatever you want to do. And it's going to put this person on a campaign, right? So it's really a foolproof system if you think about it. I mean, otherwise, you're going to have to pull out your phone. You're going to have to pull up the referral partner, send them a text message, and then you're going to have to maybe text this guy, James, then remember to text them tomorrow, remember to send them an email. It's much easier just to build out a workflow just by 2 clicks here. Referral partner is kept in the loop, and you're really hunting down James here, trying to get a hold of him over the course of the next several days. And so that's one quick example as to how this works on the prospect side. And we can spend some more time here. I know I'm going through this a little bit quick, so if you have questions, please drop them in the chat. In terms of how in-process works, we have a few more options here, which makes this a little bit more dynamic. So if I go into in-process, and again, if you have the LOS integration, the LOS will go ahead and more or less create these status, not necessarily create a status, but move them from one to the next. So there doesn't need to be any manual effort if you are integrated with the LOS, which is great. But the idea here is okay, so it looks like this guy has a status in his LOS called application. So if I can edit here, let's see what's happening. So, okay, so file goes to application, status. That means that, all these things are going to trigger. So what's going to happen here? Well, it looks like we're sending a text message to the buying agent. In process, there is also the option of send from. So you have the ability not only to share with more people associated with the transaction, such as an insurance agent or a buyer's agent, transaction coordinator, attorneys, all of that. But we also have the ability to say who I want it to come from. So if the loan's in my name as a loan assignee, then it's going to come from me. But maybe you have an LOA or a processor on your team that you want this correspondence to come from, right? So, but in this particular case, it goes to application. Great, we're sending this text message out to the buying agent saying, greetings, such and such, we just completed loan application, or just got the completed loan application. And for so-and-so, we are preparing the pre-approval. I'll be sure to update you ASAP, right? Great, nice little communication. Hopefully keeps the buying agent from calling you incessantly to know what's going on with the file. It's just, you're just letting them know what's happening there. Now we're also going to send a text message to the borrower and co-borrower saying, great, we got your completed application. And then we're going to send them an email with, it looks like, basically the next steps, if you will. So you can see here, it's connecting them with the loan officer assistant via email, all this fun stuff. And it also looks like they're also creating a task too for someone on their team. So whoever the LOA on the file is, they're creating a task to make sure that this gets done. And so if you think about that for a second, it's a really powerful tool to just have the LOS system, or you can also create these manually and just, you know, drag and drop or update a status to do this within Daily AI if you don't have the LOS integration. But just by, you know, a simple action of the transaction going to application status, we're doing all of these different things, right? We're texting the buying agent, we're texting the borrower co-borrower, we're emailing the borrower co-borrower, and I'm tasking someone internally to make sure that we do what we need to do, right? And so, you know, I said I would also show an example here, another example. And this one is using, you can see the LOA send from functionality. So when the file gets to submitted, you can see here that the loan officer wants to be the one texting the buying and listing agent. They want that FaceTime with the realtor. Smart. However, you can see the LOA is the one texting the borrower and the co-borrower and emailing the borrower and the co-borrower. So at this point, you know, the loan officer wants to be you know, bringing in new business and nurturing relationships instead of, you know, clearing conditions or whatever it is. And so you have the ability to segment, you know, based on people on your team, which is really cool. There's one more thing here I wanted to show. You might see this stop communication. So the stop communication uses if-then logic to basically say that don't send this if something's happening, right? So in other words, don't send these communications if we are, you know, 7 days before the funded date or whatever it is, right? And you can see the power of this here. Basically, with the submitted milestone, if this is happening within 14 days of the funded date, the file's behind, right? It definitely is. And so what they've set up here is basically saying, file's behind, I don't want to send this out, right? I especially don't want to be texting the buying and listing agent saying, great news, we got it submitted, when, you know, it's 10 days away from, you know, what the proposed funding date is, right? Just, it makes you look bad. And so this gives you the ability to say, send it if it's on track and don't send it if it's not on track, more or less. And you can specify per step here. So maybe you don't want to let the buying agent, listing agent know, but maybe you still want to let the borrower and co-borrower know. You can decide how you want to set that up. And so, you know, and again, I'll just repeat one last time, the best way to think about this, I know there's a lot here, it's, you know, it can be a little bit confusing. The best way to think about this really is, what's the status? What's the milestone? What do I want to have happen? Who do I want that to go to? Who do I want it to come from, right? You think about it in that way. At least for me, that's definitely helpful. To add new to actions, you can click the plus button over here. You know, to add a new milestone, you simply, you know, at the top here, you can add a new milestone, and you can drag and drop these in any particular order that you want. So I know there's a lot there as it relates to milestones. There's a lot of power with it. You know, it's fun to, you can add yourself as a contact in Daily AI and kind of, you know, update the statuses to see what it does and what information you get to really test with, or, you know, someone on your team, or, you know, friend or family member or whatever, which I highly recommend as you kind of dive into this to get a feel for how this works. Looking at the Q&A here, chat, looks like no real questions here so far, which is great.
I would say though, if you guys aren't utilizing this, I know in the industry, it's a big battle between the mortgage professional and the realtors, just having that communication. This automation is so powerful because we're all human beings and things just slip through the cracks. So if you set up the automation, it's just like a foolproof way to keep everyone in the loop and make sure everyone knows what's going on in the transaction. So I would definitely recommend diving in here. This is really cool, Spencer. So just spend some time. Like you said, it does look overwhelming, but if you just spend some time in there and get to know it, that's a really powerful feature.
Absolutely. And just to kind of brush up a little bit on the drip campaign aspect of things, this is where you can take things to the next level. What's great about this is I can say, okay, I want one text to go to the borrower and co-borrower, but what if you're trying to collect docs for them, or you're trying to convert a lead and you don't hear from them and you want to send a follow-up, right? Or you want to keep bugging them basically until they respond. Well, that's where we would be able to, that's where we'll be able to create in drip campaigns. And so I see there's a question from John as well on the drip campaigns. Let's see, I'll try my drip campaigns. Can we send out campaigns initially? New part initial client upload, segmenting small groups. The answer, John, is absolutely. So if I go into your contacts here, so basically your, anyone that you've done business with, there's a lead or whatever, you don't have to add everyone all at once to any drip campaign. So you can just say, I want to add these 2 people to, the drip campaign, or within the drip campaign itself. If I go into, let's say, realtor upload outreach here, I can pick specific contacts to add to that campaign. So I think that's a great question, and I do highly recommend testing the drip campaigns in smaller bunches, especially, and I'll show you kind of some examples of a really good refine or just kind of database nurture campaign where maybe someone filled out an application but you haven't heard from in a while or whatever. If you have a lot of people in that stage, sending it to sending a voicemail and a text message to everyone all at once is just going to be overwhelming, right? Because the response rates are so high. So we highly recommend starting slow, feeling good about the way things are going, and then, kind of build from there. Otherwise, it can just be too overwhelming. So, but in terms of how the drip campaigns work, basically what we have the ability to do, and I know many of you have seen this before, but we have the ability to string different actions together in one campaign, right? And we have the option to use any of the communication mediums that Daily AI provides, which can be email. If I click on message, I have the ability to do a voice drop or ringless voicemail. You have the ability to send a text message, or the ability to send a video text message, or like animated GIF or something like that. And you can use all of these in these campaigns. You also have the ability to task people. But if we look at this campaign, this is basically a realtor, gives you a lead, right? And comes into Daily AI. What do we want to have happen? Well, the idea here is that that person lead gets entered into this campaign, and within 1 second, this voicemail is going out, right? And then a minute later, I'm tasking someone on my team to call and follow up. And then 8 minutes later, I'm sending this text message. And this is actually a really powerful cadence. This is a very well-built campaign that gets an insanely high response rate, because think about how personalized this is. It's going to say, good morning, good afternoon, whoever the lead is. This is such and such with such and such company. I tried calling and left a voicemail a few minutes ago. Now, the beauty of this is you didn't actually call them, and you don't even know potentially if this is happening, right? Daily AI is going to leave a voicemail on their phone for you. And then it's going to send this text message basically saying, hey, I just tried calling you but got your voicemail, right? Such and such asked me to reach out to you regards your interest in a mortgage loan. This just seems so personalized, right? And gets a crazy high response rate, because someone's thinking, wow, this person called me, left me a voicemail. Now they're texting me saying, hey, can I reach out? It's just a very different way of doing things, right? I mean, we highly recommend integrating email into these campaigns, because I'm sure you all know, you get much higher response rates from a text. It's even better to pick up the phone and call someone, but we're all really busy, or you might be in the middle of a initial needs call with a different client or whatever it is. And so the beauty of this is the lead automatically goes into this campaign. This is all happening behind the scenes. And then basically your job turns into more of a, managing inbound leads instead of, being the one to have to chase down all these people, right? You can sit back, let Daily AI get a hold of them, and then you manage the responses as they come in. You don't need to be the one who's chasing them down constantly and, the next day trying to call them, but maybe forgetting because you have so much going on. That's just how it is, right? Let's see here. David Wright, is it a robot phone call? And what does it say? It's not a robot phone call. It is an actual voicemail. So it's called, the technology is called, ringless voicemails, if you want to take a look at it. But in Daily AI, you have the ability right here to record videos or also audio, right? So if I go here, I can just speak into my computer what I want it to say. And so we unfortunately can't personalize it by first name. It'd be great if I could record it and it would say, hey, Val, or hey, whoever, right? Or hey, David. But what you can say is you can say, hey, this is Spencer with Daily AI, just saw, just heard that you're looking, into getting a mortgage. I've been working in the industry for X amount of years. Would love to help you. I'm gonna follow up as well via text if that's more convenient for you. But please give me a call. Something like that that's personalized. That's what's being sent to them, right? So there's actually no chance for them to pick up the phone. That just goes straight to their voicemail, and then you have the ability to follow up with additional actions. Does that make more sense, David? I'll go back into the drip campaigns here. And again, no, the referral source cannot be mentioned. There is a way to do this if you have, let's say, 1 or 2 realtors that give you most of the business. What you can do is you can create a campaign for each of those realtors. So there is a way where, in theory, you could have a campaign for, your top realtor 1, where you record one version of the voicemail, and campaign 2. Is it a generic call? I have to design. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. But the idea is you'll record it here in whatever your message is, and then you'll just add it to the campaign. So whenever someone gets added to this campaign, you would go ahead and select from your Daily AI media files and say, this is the voicemail I want to go out.
Yeah. So David, if you're going to use one campaign for all your leads coming in, then it would have to be relevant to any of those leads. So yeah, it would be a generic message. But like Spencer's saying, you could make separate campaigns. So Spencer, would they have to just assign a tag to those people coming in for that specific referral source, and then they could mention, hey, I saw your lead come in or your information come in from Spencer, if it was like a Spencer specific campaign?
Absolutely. Yeah. And so yes, you absolutely can. You can make unlimited campaigns in Daily AI, David. There's no restrictions there. It's obviously worth the effort, in my opinion, but it is, there's work involved, of course. What you can do is Daily AI does give you the ability to copy campaigns. So I could copy this, drip campaign, let's say, John Smith Realtor. All you got to do is copy the campaign, go into that copy, and then just swap out the voicemail. So really the hard work there is just recording the different voicemails and then just swapping them out in the campaigns. So it's actually not too much.
I want to clarify something. I know, John, you had asked about uploading your contacts and only having like batches of them go into a drip campaign. So if you are submitting your initial database upload through our team, so if you're sending it in, all of those will be uploaded to the drip campaign all at one time. So if you want that different, if you just want 50 at a time or whatever cadence you want, just let our team know when you're submitting that. And then we can make that change, just so you're not sending them in and expecting them to go in batches.
Yeah, it's a good point there. And really, again, with the drip campaigns, I highly recommend just sort of, again, kind of do a little bit of trial and error, if you will, where you can kind of go through and create a campaign, create these steps. And it really is, it's pretty straightforward. It's okay, how long after this person's added in the campaign do I want this to happen, right? So is it a second? Is it a day? Is it a week, right? I mean, some people create nurture campaigns that last years, right? Our homeownership has some of those built for you all. But then it's when do I want this to happen? What do I want to have happen? And you can test it on yourself. You click the test button, this voicemail is going to go to your phone, right? You click the test button here, this text is going to go to your, whatever verified number you have with Daily AI. So there's easy ways to also test this throughout the steps. You can kind of string together, different cadences that are going to work well for you. Awesome. So, okay. So I think that's a little bit high level in the drip, kind of going over the basics a little bit. At the end, if people want to dive in more, there is more functionality. There are ways to have drip campaigns also update milestones, things like that. So if there is sort of an appetite to go a little bit deeper into some of the more advanced use cases, drip campaigns and milestones, more than happy to go through that. We're also pointing in the direction of some articles online from Daily AI to help you learn more about that. I do want to show a couple of exciting updates here as well for everyone. Some things to look forward to that we'll be releasing within Daily AI. I think the first thing here, let me see. First thing here is this is going to be exclusive to Art of Home Ownership, but you do have your Daily AI dashboard. We have created what is known as an Art of Home Ownership dashboard, which has all of your different links here, right? So it gives you the option to contact support, e-learning, and then also, ties together sort of your MBS highway, your Revive, Updater, HomeBot, all of that here. So if you're ever confused about the different resources you have or where to access them, you can access all of that within Daily AI. So a nice little update to kind of tie things together a little bit. David, yes, the short answer is you absolutely can import data from Jungo into the system. And uploading is pretty straightforward. You can simply, go CSV upload, drag your CSV, and then you'll map the fields. So it's really straightforward. As once you do this, you go to the next page. You'll just say which field you want to go to, which field in Jungo you want to map to in Daily AI. And I have a question for you, Val. Not sure if you want to answer that or take that at the end.
Yeah, let me have our team follow up with you after the webinar, but I'll make sure that we address that. I'm not sure. I don't work with that specifically, but I'll find out for you.
Awesome. So a couple of cool updates here. We are releasing our dashboard 2.0, which is a major upgrade from the prior dashboard, as you can see here. And this is the first iteration. So if you have feedback or comments, you're welcome to leave them with DOH. You can relay them to us or reach out to Daily AI directly if you'd like. But really what we've done here is try to put more useful information on the dashboard. And so at the top here, you have sort of your week at a glance, where all of your tasks are going to be, throughout the week are going to be here. This user doesn't have many tasks, you can see, but I can very simply, click on this, and it's going to go ahead and take me. This is another cool feature I was going to show you all. So we'll go away from that for now. But the idea here is I can do all my task management here. It will take me right into Anthony's contact, and I can go ahead and call or text or whatever it is I need to do. I also have the ability to see where my various contacts are and according to status, whether it be prospect statuses or in-process statuses. Can see how much I've closed, within various timeframes, how many leads I've gotten, where my leads are coming from. Again, this, it's not as, looks like 90 days is a little better. So you can see, I'm seeing, okay, 6% is coming from my partners. Wow, Agent Lead Boss, I'm really getting a lot of leads from them. My formidable forms or whatever. 6% from Encompass, and this is also going to track it throughout the life cycle. So if a lead comes from a partner and then ends up in Encompass, it's still going to be counted as a partner, which is great. So you're just not going to double count or skew the data, because obviously everything does end up in, or most things would end up in the LOS, and so we've kind of created that. Contact nurture looks like there's nothing here, but you have the ability to. This is on the existing dashboard. You reach out to people who have a birthday or home anniversary. I can see, my top 10 referral partners, okay, so Brian and Seven here, it looks like they're providing the most referrals. And I can also see, which my top campaigns are by usage. So how many contacts do I have in these different campaigns? And we are building in, it doesn't look like it's in our test app here, but we are building in reply rates as well. So you can see which campaigns are performing at the highest level. Again, this is iteration 1. I think there's a lot more that we want to do with the dashboard, but this is, I think, certainly providing a lot more value than the initial iteration of this. So I wanted to show this to the group. 2 more updates here. Let's see here. I should do that. I should do that. we are integrating a new contacts and transactions page. And the really cool thing about this is it's very flexible. So I can say, you know, how much I can basically add as much information as I want from these columns. I can resize them, I can move them around, and I have the ability to also scroll. And so I know for many of you, you know, who work out of Excel or, you know, for tracking leads or your pipeline and things like that, this will be a very similar feel where you can add all of your fields. You can go ahead and scroll, you know, to see what's going on with everything. The other cool thing about this is you're going to have the ability to have really robust filtering. So I can say, you know, I want to filter by everyone with a name that, you know, contains John, right? Or maybe doesn't contain or equals. And so it's just going to give you the ability to basically create custom filters, which can create custom reports essentially, because I can say, here's the 10 criteria I want to filter by. I want to filter by people that, you know, are going to have a funded day within the next 30 days. You know, an appraisal hasn't been ordered yet. And, you know, this loan officer assistant's working on. You'll have the ability to do that, to pull those really robust reports and see what's going on. And it's not in this test app, but we will also integrate the ability to color code based off of that logic, which will be even cooler. So you can say, basically put in your criteria to say, if this is happening, make this row green, right? So everything's good, right? It's on the, everything's going well with that file. But if these things haven't happened, then let's make it red. So then you'll have a really easy, you know, way to just kind of come in here and glance and say, okay, here's my 30 transactions going on right now. And why are the 5 of these red? Okay, I got to take a look at them, right? And so you're going to be able to build in that logic there as well, which is going to be really helpful. So we're excited about this. It's definitely a big update. But I know that many of you have worked out of Excel or, you know, utilize Excel in different ways or smart sheets or functionality like that. And this, I think you're going to feel right at home with this. It's going to have, you know, pretty much the same functionality, and it'll just be, you know, part of your daily AI account as well.
Yeah, that looks awesome, Spencer. And when are these updates expected to be in place?
Yeah, you know, I think we're, you know, certainly by the end of the year. As you can see, it's in the test app, which means that there's still some being fine-tuned. But, you know, as you can see, the majority of this has been done. It's just got to test it and make sure everything is working properly, make some minor adjustments. And then once that's all clear, we'll ship it and everyone will be able to access it. So, you know, definitely, I would love to see it out by Thanksgiving. But I'd safer if we just say end of year, because I'm very, very, very confident in that. And the last thing we are adding as well, as we're kind of adding we have the ability, as I'm sure many of you have seen and hopefully have been able to use, we have kind of this Trello-esque, you know, be able to see where your files are, and, you know, drag and drop or just, you know, visualize that, which is great, but we really want to take this to the next level. And so what we're doing here is we're giving you the ability to create multiple different boards. And so, you know, at Daily AI, through our drip campaigns, you know, one of the, I think, the things that we pride ourselves on is our ability to help you convert leads, right? Because we have all those sources integrated, whether it be, you know, voicemail, text messaging, you know, I mean, and have the ability to create dynamic campaigns around that. So many people have pointed out to us, well, it's great that I can view my transactions in that Trello style, but I also want to view my prospects to see where they are and as far as the lead stages go. And so basically what we're adding is we're adding a couple new boards, as well as the ability for you to customize your a board of your choosing as well. So the idea is I can say, I want to see all my prospect statuses here. I want to see all my in process. We're adding 2 more categories that I think are going to make a lot of sense. And, you know, if anyone has any feedback, I'd love to hear it. But we're adding the category pre-process, which is basically maybe someone's filled out an application, but they, you know, the loan isn't actually in progress, right? And you want to keep following up and you have some stages and statuses around there. And then nurture, what happens when a loan's funded, right? We want to, maybe you have different stages of nurture, right? Maybe it's the first 6-month stage, and then it's the, you know, next year stage or whatever it is, but you create different, stages around nurture. So you'll have the ability to kind of segment based off of that, as well as add your own. Maybe you really only care because you're a team leader, and you have people working your leads and LOA, working your in process. Maybe you really only care about 2 statuses here, 1 status here, 3 here, and 1 here. Well, you'll be able to add your own customized view to say, these are the things I want to see. And you'll be able to visualize it here, have the full drag and drop functionality. And of course, you'll have the ability too now, which is an enhancement as well, to really customize this to see, okay, this is the borrower, this is the co-borrower, call, text, email, but also see additional information there. Maybe you want to, as you can see over here, maybe you want to see certain fields here or have certain tags that you want to see on this board view. And so, it's just going to give you the kind of a in terms of database management, lead management, transaction management, gives you a really nice Trello view here, which, our goal is to provide as many tools for all of you to use. And so some of you are going to really love the Excel functionality and see what's red, what's green. That's kind of your day-to-day jam, which is great. Others of you are going to want to see it more in this format, right? And to see where things are and be able to drag and drop. It's totally up to you how you want to use it, but you'll have the ability to do it both ways. Okay. Great.
We did have another question whenever, unless you wanted to finish updates first, Spencer, and then we can address that, but whenever you're ready.
No, those are the major updates. There's other things as well, but I think those are the most exciting updates for sure. So
cool. Yeah, that looks awesome. We're excited. The question here is in regards to the drip campaigns, and John is asking if they can co-brand with business partners. So maybe customizing like a signature on their emails for the drip campaigns. Would that also look like tagging them to go in specific drip campaigns dedicated to only that referral partner? Is that possible?
Yeah, so I assume we're referring to mostly emails, probably co-branding on emails. Is that
I believe
correct?
So.
Or, okay. So there's a lot of ways
Yes.
to accommodate that. What I would do is, so if I go in, you have the ability to create custom fields. And so what you can do is if you go into settings and custom fields, you can basically say, I want to add additional fields for, a contact or for, a transaction or whatever it is, right? And so what this will allow you to do is if you don't already have the information, if I go into a drip campaign, I can basically use these merge fields to make it dynamic. So if I come back into here, let's see if there was an email in here. I think there was. This is text and voicemail only. It's definitely aggressive. But let's create a campaign from scratch. So if I go into email here, I have the ability, let's say we want to send this right away. I have the ability to add a CC here, and maybe I want to CC the, referral partner on it, right? So now I've got the referral partner copied on here. It doesn't matter which referral partner it is. It's a merge field. It's dynamic. It's going to pull in, the specific referral partner for this contact. And then, I could say hi from, let's say hi from Spencer and referral partner first name. Hi from Spencer and whoever the referral partner is, right? So again, this is dynamic. You can see here at the bottom, you have kind of user email signature, which is going to be your signature, which is dynamic. But you'd also have the ability to, in theory, if you wanted to create something which, maybe they were above you or below you, or you could try next to you, but the formatting can be tricky on some of these things. But now you could just start to pull in, the referral partner, first name and their referral partner last name, all of their email, phone, right? And then if you wanted to, so basically what this would do then is anytime this email is sent out, it would copy their referral partner, would say hi from, whoever, your name and their referral partner name, and then it's adding their contact information here. So this is what we have you could create out of the box. The cool thing too is if there actually isn't a referral partner on here, it would just skip all this. So wouldn't, I mean, it might look a little bit weird here because it would say hi for Spencer and blank, but you know, it would skip all of this. The other thing though, you can create more customized fields as well. So again, like those custom fields I show you, you'd have the ability to create other fields for that particular lead or whatever it is, and drag them in here, right? Whether maybe it was more of like an image asset or more of a like the referral partner address, things like that. You could just add those additional custom fields. And then you would have the option when you add custom fields to then pull them from the merged fields. So it's very flexible in terms of how you want to create that. I don't know if that's helpful. Are these templates available as samples somewhere, or do we have to create them? I know Art of Homeownership gives you all a few campaigns to work with. I think if you want specific examples for lead conversion and things like that, I would say you can reach out to Daily AI directly. We're happy to help, or someone at Art of Homeownership, and we can provide those. You know, I know typically Art of Homeownership is very focused on their, you know, obviously the you know, keeping a client for life, which typically falls under more of the nurture category instead of like lead conversion. So you know, I don't know if they would maybe kind of put that more in our court to help you with, or they would, or they'd help you as well. But either way, maybe, I don't know, Val, you can speak to that more than me, but either way, we can definitely provide some samples for you.
Yeah, we have a few different campaigns that are pushed to all partners. So those are going to be a homeowner campaign, a renter campaign. We have your new close loans campaign. So there are a few that are already built into the CRM. But when you're talking about the homeowner and renter campaigns, those are more for, say you would meet someone and they're not in the market to buy, sell, or refinance. If you were to upload those to Daily AI, you would put them in one of those campaigns for more of a long-term drip, just giving them some information about Art of Homeownership and introducing them to the different tools. So it's not necessarily the lead conversion that you might be looking for. So I would say Daily AI would probably be better for that, but we're also happy to help.
We have a very well monitored support line. I know it seems generic, but you know, there's a real person that I'll get back to you very soon. But if you want to request some samples, or you know, more of like a custom tailored like referral partner campaigns and things like that, I recommend reaching out to support. Or of course, if you reached out to your account manager or Homeownership, they would happily connect you with one of their counterparts here at Daily AI. But I think that's a great question, Lauren. I know that it is daunting to, to see these campaigns that are very well thought out and people spend a lot of time building them. I totally understand the appeal of having some of that stuff to work, with from the get-go. And we'd certainly love to help you with that. Great. Any other questions, or Val, or anything? Yes, I completely agree. Yeah, what I always say, let someone smarter than me figure something out, and then I'll just kind of copy it, right? So
yeah.
on the same page. Yeah. Great. I don't know if there's any other questions, or Val, if you want me to touch on any other topics. I know there's more we obviously could talk about with drip campaigns or milestones. But of course, we could probably take a couple hours just to talk about those topics. So wanted to keep it a little bit more high level.
Baby steps.
Yeah.
No, that was all that we had in mind. If there's any questions, of course, put them in the chat or the Q&A, and we can touch on those. But no, otherwise, this was great. We're excited for the updates. That looks awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you, John. Great questions. And again, if people want samples for the drip campaigns or milestones, if they want help on lead conversion or transaction management, I think that's more kind of under the Daily AI scope of things. Obviously, anything related to client for life, nurture is all is what AOH does better than anyone else. The support email address is support@dailyai.io. If you want to ping them for for help or sample campaigns or different onboarding related items, we'll certainly help you out there.
Cool, that's awesome. Other than that, if you have questions, put them in the chat. But in the meantime, just some housekeeping things. I did put this in the Art of Homeownership Facebook group. If you're not in it, make sure to request to join. But we are doing a Thanksgiving video for all of our for social media, including all of our partners and the Art of Homeownership team. So if you are interested, send a video in. You can send it to myself or support at artofhomeownership.com or Valerie at artofhomeownership.com. Just say what you're thankful for or just happy Thanksgiving. And then we're including all of those in our Thanksgiving video. So I know it's not everyone's favorite getting in front of a camera, but we appreciate it greatly if you could do that. And if there are no more questions, I think we can end it there. So Spencer, thanks so much for joining us today. This was awesome.
Great. Yeah, thank you all. We look forward to pushing those updates and hopefully getting more of you comfortable with the milestones and drip campaigns. So if there's anything we can do to help with that, please reach out.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. We will see you next week. Have a good one.
Thanks.